Pink dawn light filtered through the glass walls of one of Manhattan's tallest skyscrapers as Emma Blackwood stood on the terrace, gazing out over the city. Watching New York wake up from the 52nd floor penthouse terrace would be a dream for most people. But for Emma, this was just another morning routine. Even the champagne in the crystal glass in her hand felt empty this morning. Dom Perignon 1996, the kind her father saved for special occasions. But today wasn't special. Today they were going to take engagement photos with Marcus, and Emma felt nothing. At 26, she was fifth on Forbes' Most Powerful Women Under 30 list. She had appeared on Vogue's cover 3 times, graduated summa cum laude from Harvard with an MBA, and as the sole heir to her father's technology empire, every detail of her life was perfect, at least on paper. In reality, Emma felt like she was in a golden cage. Every move was scrutinized by the media, every outfit criticized, every relationship became a subject of speculation. How many people really knew her? How many people loved her for who she was, not for her money, status, or connections? She asked herself this question every night, but could never find the answer. Her phone rang. It was her assistant, Lisa. "Good morning, Emma. Photo shoot is at 12. Stylist arrives at 9. Marcus's schedule is ready too. Also, there's an interview offer from People magazine. No Lisa, no interviews, just photos. Okay. Also, a message from your father. Dinner is canceled. His meeting with Japanese investors ran over." Emma hung up. Her father was always busy. Richard Blackwood, founder and CEO of Blackwood Technologies, was among the world's 10 most influential tech leaders. Emma respected him, but sometimes she wished he was less successful and spent more time with her. "You know," said Marcus, approaching from behind, wrapping his arms around Emma's waist, "I'm thinking about our honeymoon. Santorini or Bali? Both would be amazing, but you decide, sweetheart. Actually, Maldives could be beautiful too. Or Fiji. You know, my friend Jonathan has a private island in the Caribbean. That could be." Emma turned and looked at Marcus. He was handsome, she couldn't deny that. Nearly 6 feet tall, perfect physique from gymnastics, impeccable posture, gray eyes, and that charismatic smile. Harvard Business School graduate, worked at Goldman Sachs for 3 years, now managing his own hedge fund. The Wall Street Journal had named him Young Investor of the Year. By everyone's standards, they were a perfect couple. On social media, #Emma and Marcus had become a trending topic. But this morning, as Emma looked at him, she felt something strange. While Marcus talked to her, his eyes were constantly on his phone, checking business messages, looking at social media accounts, sometimes even while answering Emma, he was looking at the screen. "Marcus," Emma said slowly, taking his phone from his hand and placing it on the table, "what do you think people love me for?" Marcus was surprised for a moment. Then he put on that familiar, perfect smile. "What do you mean, Emma? Your beauty, intelligence, charm. You're perfect. Why are you asking such a question? You're acting a bit strange this morning." "No, Marcus," Emma put her glass on the table and turned to face him completely. "I'm really asking. This is a very specific question. If I weren't rich, if I weren't Emma Blackwood, but just Emma from an ordinary family, would you still be with me?" Marcus's smile froze for a moment. Emma saw a flicker of panic in his eyes. It was very quick, but Emma didn't miss it. "Emma, what are you saying? Of course. I love you. What are these ridiculous questions?" But Emma saw that small hesitation in his eyes, the doubt that sparkled in that fraction of a second, the slight tension in his voice, and at that moment something broke inside her. "You know," Emma said, moving even closer, "I read a research study the other day. 90% of people have doubts about their partners at least once in a relationship. They wonder about their true character." Marcus frowned. "What are you getting at?" "I've decided to do something," Emma said. "But this will be our secret." That evening, Emma pulled out the simple clothes from the back of her closet that she never wore. In her 300 square meter dressing room, among thousands of dollars worth of clothes, she found the black pants from Target, white shirt from Gap, and ordinary shoes she had worn during volunteer work in college. Back then, she felt more simple, more real. Looking in the mirror, she couldn't recognize herself. Her face without makeup, hair in a simple bun, cotton white underwear instead of La Perla, bare wrist instead of Cartier watch, bare neck instead of Tiffany necklace, without expensive jewelry. This wasn't Emma Blackwood. This was just Emma. She took her cell phone and called her closest friend, Sarah. Sarah was Emma's high school friend and now worked as a lawyer. They were friends genuinely, not for money. Sarah, I need a favor from you, but you won't ask any questions, okay? Emma, what are you doing? Your voice sounds strange. Promise me, Sarah, this is very important. Okay, I promise, but I'm curious. Tell Marcus you're going to Villa Rosa tomorrow night. Say you arranged a surprise dinner. Say you thought of something romantic. I'll be there. Working. Emma, are you sick? What does this mean? Sarah, you promise not to ask questions. Just do it, please. This is vital for me. Okay, but Emma, if you're doing something dangerous, it's not dangerous. I just want to learn the truth. The next day, Emma spoke with Roberto, the owner of Villa Rosa. The restaurant was already one of the places her family had invested in. Roberto's father had given him a loan when he was starting his business. When she said she wanted to work as a waitress for one evening, Roberto was surprised, but of course, no one could say no. Miss Emma, but why? I don't understand. Roberto, just trust me. No one will know my real identity. I'll just say Amy. And please, don't tell anyone anything. Of course, but I'm here for anything you need. Plus, at 7 in the evening, Emma put on her Amy clothes and went to the restaurant. Her heart was beating so fast she could barely breathe. She looked at herself in the mirror one last time. She looked completely different in these clothes. More ordinary, more approachable. But she had to do this test. She had to see Marcus's true face. At 8 o'clock, Marcus and Sarah entered through the restaurant door. Emma watched them from behind the kitchen. Marcus was his usual self, confident, possessive, perfect posture. Sarah looked nervous, constantly looking around. Table 12, the chef told Emma. You handle it. Emma took a deep breath and moved forward. Good evening, Emma said as she approached Marcus's table. She had tried to change her voice, speaking a bit softer, more modestly. Marcus looked up at her. There was no sign of recognition in his eyes. Good. But the way he looked at her, Emma's stomach turned. Marcus was sizing her up from head to toe, but this wasn't a loving look. This was more evaluative. Can I get the wine list? Marcus said. Of course, sir. Emma brought the list. While Marcus looked at the list, he frowned. Do you have 2015 Chateau Margaux? I don't see it on the list. Emma's breath caught. That wine was one of her father's favorites. One bottle cost $10,000. It was 10 times more expensive than this restaurant's most expensive wine. I'm sorry, sir, we don't have that wine, but I can make other recommendations. Marcus turned to Sarah and said in a low voice, It's hard to find quality wine in these kinds of places. The waiters usually don't know what they're recommending either. Emma's face flushed, but she continued, Our most popular wine is 2018 Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir. Our customers love it. Marcus laughed. I'm sure they do. We'll take the 2017 Camus Cabernet, and please don't open the bottle at the table. Open it in the kitchen, then bring it. Emma took notes. Anything else, sir? We haven't looked at the menu yet. We'll wait a bit. As Emma walked away, she heard Marcus say to Sarah, Service is also a problem in these kinds of places. They have no training at all. Emma's breath caught, but this was just the beginning. 20 minutes later, Emma returned to take their orders. Marcus and Sarah were looking at the menu. Marcus was frowning as he examined the menu. Are you ready, sir? Yes, Marcus said as he closed the menu, looking somewhat uncomfortable. Are the prices on this menu normal? They seemed a bit expensive to me. Emma found this amusing inside. Marcus's house rent was $15,000 a month. I want the beef tenderloin, medium rare, and double potato garnish instead of salad. Also, a cold beer would be good. Which brand would you prefer, sir? The cheapest one. It doesn't matter anyway. Emma was surprised. Marcus normally only drank craft beer. Of course, sir. And madam? Sarah looked at Emma with an apologetic expression in her eyes. I'll have the same, please. As Emma took notes, Marcus took out his cell phone. A message immediately came and his face lit up. Oh, great, he said to himself. The Japanese approved the deal. Which deal? Sarah asked. The project with Emma's father. Very big deal. Emma doesn't know the details yet, but excuse me, he said to Sarah. I'm expecting an important call. His phone rang and Marcus answered. James? Yes, I can talk. Emma stayed nearby, pretending to clean their table. Her ears were alert. No, Marcus said on the phone. He had lowered his voice a bit, but Emma could hear. That project is still ongoing. meeting with Emma's father next week. Yes, I know, big deal. Everything will be easier after marriage. Emma will get signing authority. Emma's hand trembled. She was about to drop the glass. Marcus continued. Listen, James, Emma is a sweet girl, but she's not very understanding about business. She doesn't care much about her father's affairs, which is good for us. She only cares about parties, shopping, and stuff. The plan continues as planned. Emma's face went white. Parties? Shopping? She had an MBA from Harvard, had written her thesis on corporate ethics. Of course I love her, Marcus said, laughing. But James, there's a lot to love, right? Her beauty, money, connections. I come from a poor family. Would I miss such an opportunity? Besides, Emma is, how should I put it, a bit naive, easily influenced. Emma's world collapsed, but worse was coming. Actually, Marcus said, lowering his voice even more, between us, Emma is a bit simple. She doesn't understand the business world. Easy to manipulate. After the wedding, I'll have her sign a few documents, give me a small share in her father's company. She's not smart enough to understand anyway. Sarah was visibly uncomfortable. Marcus, maybe it would be better to have this conversation later. Why, Sarah? You think the waitress girl understands? These kinds of people are only busy with their daily affairs anyway. They don't know what our world is like. Emma wanted to disappear at that moment, but her legs wouldn't carry her. Emma could no longer stand it. But at that moment, the restaurant door opened and two men entered. Men in suits, serious faces. One walked straight to Marcus's table. Marcus Hartwell? Marcus looked up. Yes? FBI. You're under arrest. The inside of the restaurant immediately became chaotic. While other customers tried to understand what was happening, FBI agents made Marcus stand up. What am I being charged with? Marcus said, his voice trembling for the first time. Insider trading, fraud, and money laundering, the agent said in a cold voice. Emma was in shock, but one of the agents walked towards her. Are you Emma Blackwood? Emma's breath caught. Don't worry, Miss Blackwood. We want to make sure you're safe. Marcus Hartwell was trying to gain access to your father's company through you. Marcus looked at Emma and his face went white. Emma? You? What are you doing here? Emma slowly approached Marcus. There was nothing left to hide now. I wanted to learn your true character, Marcus. And I did. Emma, I can explain everything. This is just a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? Emma's voice was rising. You call manipulating me, deceiving my father, stealing my money a misunderstanding? Sarah stood up. Emma, I didn't know anything. I swear. I know, Sarah, Emma said. You're clean. As the agent handcuffed Marcus, Marcus looked at Emma one last time. Emma, please. I really love you. Money doesn't matter to me. Emma looked at him with a bitter smile. Marcus, if you really loved me, you would never have made that phone call. And if money doesn't matter to you, why did the FBI arrest you for fraud? Marcus had no answer he could give. A week later, Emma was sitting in her father's office. Richard Blackwood was looking at his daughter, showing in his eyes that he was proud of her decision. You did the right thing, Emma, her father said. If you hadn't done this test, we would have paid a much bigger price. Dad, Emma said, I want to ask you something. Were you suspicious of Marcus? Richard smiled. Daughter, I've been in this business for 30 years. I've learned to read people. Marcus's motivations were always suspicious to me, but I wanted your happiness. You had to make your own decision. How did the FBI find out? No, because they had been following Marcus for a long time already. He was doing similar things in other companies too. Meeting you wasn't a coincidence, Emma. He had chosen you as a target. A lump settled in Emma's stomach. So nothing was real. No, her father said, standing up. The courage you showed was real. Your power to make your own decisions was real. And now you know what real love is like. Emma stood up and her father hugged her. So what do I do now? She asked. Now you'll continue your life. But this time you won't wonder if someone loves you for your money, because now you know how to test. 3 months later, Emma returned to Villa Rosa, this time as a customer. She couldn't forget what she had experienced that night. Every corner of the restaurant reminded her of that evening. The table where Marcus sat, the place where she heard the phone conversation, the door the FBI entered, but today she had come here for a different reason. Roberto had contacted her, saying that one of the waiters who worked that night had been talking about her. Emma was curious. The restaurant owner immediately greeted her when he saw her. Miss Blackwood, how wonderful to see you among us again. We haven't seen you since that night. Thank you, Roberto. That night, you were very helpful. I'm grateful to you. You're welcome, Miss Emma. By the way, one of the waiters who worked that night is still talking about you. Emma was surprised. Which waiter? Alex. He was on shift that night. He was very impressed by your performance. Really impressed. Emma's curiosity increased. My performance? Yes. He said, I've never seen such a natural waiter. It was like she really loved this job, and she handled that difficult situation so beautifully, like a real professional. Roberto continued, Alex is actually working temporarily, medical student, senior year at Columbia. He works nights and goes to school during the day. Very hardworking boy. His father is unemployed, mother is sick. He takes care of both his family and school. After your incident with Marcus that night, he said, real character emerges in difficult times. That girl was amazing. It's rare to meet strong people like her. Emma smiled. These comments relieved her. Is Alex here now? Yes, he's in the kitchen doing prep work. Should I call him? No, Emma said. I'll go, I'm curious. Emma walked towards the kitchen. There, a dark-haired, clean-faced man of about 30 was chopping vegetables. His hands worked quickly and skillfully. When he looked up and saw Emma, his face lit up. You're Amy who worked that night, aren't you? Alex said, stopping. Your real name is Emma. Roberto told me. I was very surprised. Yes, Emma said. And you're Alex. I'll be Dr. Alex in 2 years, he said, laughing. Right now, I'm just Alex, but I hope I can really help people someday. Emma looked at him. There was sincerity in his eyes. Tiredness, too. Probably from working nights and going to school during the day, but he seemed to have no complaints. That night, Emma said, I was curious how you saw me. Alex washed his hands and turned to her. I saw courage, brave enough to hide your identity to test your stupid fiancé, and you did the right thing. That man was a complete... Sorry, I don't want to be rude. How did you figure out who I was? I didn't actually. Roberto didn't say anything that night, but the next day I read in the newspapers that Marcus Hartwell was arrested, that his fiancée was Blackwood's daughter. Then Roberto told me your story. Emma waited. She expected Alex's behavior to change, to start treating her differently. But Alex continued to look at her with the same natural smile. And how does this make you feel? Emma asked. I'm proud, Alex said sincerely, because that night I only saw Amy, and Amy was an amazing person. Learning that Emma is the same person is nice. I guess money doesn't always change people. Emma's heart raced. Really? Really? Money doesn't change people, Emma. It reveals people's true character. Because you're a good person, your money also guides you to do good things. Like doing that test here, helping Roberto. These are character issues. As Emma talked with Alex, she understood how different he was. He wasn't trying to impress like Marcus. He never mentioned Emma's money or status. He just talked to her like a normal person. So, Emma said, aren't you really curious what it's like to be rich? Alex laughed. Of course I'm curious, but what I'm more curious about is how someone who is rich but can act like ordinary people was raised. What do you mean? Emma, I watched you that night. How you treated customers, how you showed respect to other employees, how you showed patience when you were struggling. These things are taught, so there must be good values in your family. Emma was surprised by this comment. Marcus had never thought like this. My family, Emma said thoughtfully. My father is very hardworking. He always taught me to be honest, the value of work. When my mother passed away, I was little, but the values that came from her are still inside me. I'm sorry, Alex said sincerely. It must have been difficult. Yes, that's why maybe knowing what real love is so important to me. My mother really loved my father. Not for money, that's why. Alex stopped and looked at her. So your suspicions about Marcus were justified? Yes, but now I'll be more careful. I don't mean I'll test everyone, but... You don't need to test, Emma, Alex said. Real love shows itself. Look at how people greet you. Do they ask you about money or how you feel? What do they expect from you? Emma had never thought about these questions. So you, Emma said boldly, what do you expect from me? Alex smiled. Just to be yourself. Amy was beautiful. Emma is beautiful too, because you have the same heart. That night, when Emma went home, she thought for a long time. Talking with Alex had calmed her. But was it too early to start trusting someone new? The next day, Alex texted her, "Last night was nice. If you want, we can meet at a coffee shop this weekend, a regular place. You don't need to wear a waitress outfit." Emma smiled. Even in this message, Alex's character was evident. Humorous but respectful, not presumptuous but sincere. That weekend, Emma met Alex at the coffee shop. Not a central place, a small cafe in the neighborhood. Emma wasn't afraid to be there. She no longer felt the need to hide herself. When Alex saw her, he stood up. He was in simple clothes, but clean and neat. He offered to buy Emma coffee. "You know," Alex said when they sat down, "I thought a lot about you after last night. You did something very brave. Most people wouldn't attempt to test their fiancé." "Maybe I was a coward," Emma said. "Maybe I was afraid of learning the truth, but still wanted to learn it." "This isn't cowardice, Emma. This is courage. You took the risk to learn the truth." As they talked, Emma understood how thoughtful Alex was. He didn't constantly talk about himself, his achievements, his plans like Marcus did. He listened to Emma, asked questions, cared about her ideas. "So," Emma said, "why did you choose medicine?" Alex's face became serious. "My mother is sick. Heart problem. When I was little, I saw her in the hospital a lot. I watched how doctors helped her, gave her hope. I wanted to help others the same way." "How is your mother now?" "She recovered, thank God. But that experience changed me. It taught me that money and status are important, but the real important thing is being able to touch people." Emma was impressed. Alex's motivation was very sincere. "So did you tell your family about me?" Emma asked. Alex laughed. "I told my mother. I said I met a beautiful girl. She asked, 'Is she rich?' I said, 'Yes.' She asked, 'Does she love you?' I said, 'I don't know.' She said, 'Then forget the money. Look at the heart.'" Emma loved this answer. "Your mother is a smart woman." "Yes, poor but smart. She always told me, 'Alex, look at how people treat you. Not what they want from you, but what they give you.' That's a very deep saying. Do you know what you give me, Emma?" Emma looked curiously. "You give me peace. When I talk to you, I don't force myself. I don't act. You don't act either. This is very rare." Emma's heart raced. This was something she had never experienced with Marcus. Chapter 10. Family Approval. 2 weeks later, Emma decided to introduce Alex to her father. This was a big step. Richard Blackwood carefully examined every man. Alex was very nervous before the meeting. Emma tried to calm him down. "Just show yourself as you are, Alex. My father immediately recognizes fake people." "What if he doesn't like me? Then it becomes my problem, not yours." The meeting was held in her father's office. Richard Blackwood's office was impressive, but Alex seemed unfazed. "Mr. Blackwood," Alex said respectfully, "meeting Emma is a great chance for me." "Is that so?" Richard said. "Why?" "Because she's a real person. She would be the same person even without money." Richard was impressed by this answer. "Did you see Emma without money?" "Yes, sir. When I met her while she was working as a waitress at Villa Rosa. That night, I saw how strong and honest she was." "So, Alex, I'm asking you directly, does Emma's money interest you?" Alex looked directly into Richard's eyes. "Mr. Blackwood, I knew Emma as Amy. Nothing has changed for me since then. Money comes and goes, but character remains." Richard smiled. He liked this answer. "So what are your future plans?" "To finish medical school and become a doctor. To become a man worthy of Emma, and maybe one day to start our own family." Richard looked at Alex for a long time. Then he turned to Emma. "Daughter, this young man comes from a very different world than yours. Have you thought about this?" "Yes, Dad. And this doesn't scare me, because he accepts me as I am." Richard stood up and extended his hand to Alex. "Alex, I believe you'll take good care of Emma, but know this, if you hurt her, you'll find me in front of you." Alex laughed. "Mr. Blackwood, hurting Emma is the last thing I'd want it to do. She's very valuable to me." A year later, Emma and Alex's wedding was held at Villa Rosa, a small, intimate ceremony. Emma wore her grandmother's dress instead of an expensive wedding dress. Alex also wore a simple suit. Only close family and friends were at the wedding. The waiters were real waiters, and Emma knew each one personally. Roberto had worked as chef, Alex's mother had made the cake. When they received news that Marcus was in prison, Emma wasn't sad at all, because thanks to that test, she had found real happiness. On their wedding night, Emma said to Alex, "You know, that night at the restaurant test changed my life. But what really changed it wasn't seeing Marcus's true face. What really changed it was meeting you." "How so?" You taught me what real love is, Alex. Loving someone as they are, treating them the same way, whether poor or rich. Alex hugged her. Emma, you taught me a lot too. Showing courage, being honest, believing in yourself. And that day, Emma understood that sometimes life's biggest lessons came after the hardest tests. That test had not only shown her Marcus's true face, it had also shown her own strength and worth. Now, Emma wasn't Blackwood, she was Emma Rodriguez. And she was very happy about it, because now she knew she was loved for her heart, not her money. The story doesn't actually end here. Emma and Alex started doing charity work together. While Emma used her money for good causes, Alex also gave free treatment to poor patients when he became a doctor. And most importantly, Emma no longer had to test anyone because she had recognized real love. Real love was the pure love that remained when masks fell and tests ended.